We bring in Bob Kravitz, the senior staff writer for The Athletic, who's based in Indianapolis, former Indy Star columnist. How did this go over yesterday locally?
Like a lead balloon.
Oh.
It did. Yeah, not good. I thought Jeff Saturday comported himself great. I mean, he was erudite. He was enthusiastic. He was everything you'd want, from a guy being introduced at his press conference. I thought Chris Ballard looked like he'd rather be vacationing in Tehran. He did not look happy to be there at all. I mean, I'm not a body language expert, but arms crossed and jaw set. He did not look happy. And Jim was just incoherent. He rambled. He was incoherent. He was defensive. It was a bad look for this organization that has had a lot of bad looks in recent years.
Okay, how did we get to this point?
Well, the thing that was strange to me was they felt that this was falling apart and they needed to make a move from Frank Reich. But Irsay made it clear that if Jeff Saturday wasn't available, this never would have happened, which I have a hard time believing. They had soured on Frank. Look, Frank was 40, 33, and 1 with 5 quarterbacks in 5 years. Does it excuse the impotent offense we saw against New England last week? No, it does not. But it was a move they felt they needed to make. I have a hard time believing that Saturday was the only option for them to move forward.
But you start to look at this, and we had Orlovsky on, and he said, you bring Saturday in, but they really want to get a great draft pick so they can get their quarterback here. You're bringing him in, but you don't want him to be that good, because if he's that good, now you put him in no man's land and you're drafting 11th.
Well, we're all screwed up here in Indiana. The Pacers are supposed to be the ones tanking. Okay. They're the ones who're supposed to be tanking, and they're 4-5 and look tremendous. And the Colts were supposed to, be competitive for the AFC South, and they're tanking. Yes, I think in a completely screwy backhanded sort of way, they want to lose. They need to tank so they can get a top 5, top 7 pick and go get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or Hendon Hooker or whoever it might be. So this may work out in the end somehow.
But you don't have an offensive play caller on the staff.
No.
And what's Saturday's job going to be coming up this weekend?
Well, first, Orlovsky had a good point. He the other day he said, "Why didn't they let Matt Ryan call the play?"
Yeah, I agree.
And you know what? And everybody laughed, and I thought that makes as much sense as anybody else.
Well, you are paying him
you are paying him a lot of money, $18 million or something. So, put him to work, for crying out loud. And you can't tell me he doesn't know the offense any better than any of these assistants. So, Saturday said yesterday that he was going to make a decision last night on who the play caller was going to be. He's already confirmed that Sam Ehlinger, heaven help him, will be the starter against Vegas. Bernard Raymond will be the left tackle, and I just expect more of the same. We root around here for guys like Saturday, but he's in an impossible position, Dan.
Bob Kravitz, senior staff writer for The Athletic, based in Indianapolis, covering the Colts. I'm going to try to ask this in a delicate way. Is Jim Irsay okay? He didn't.
Yeah, he's okay. I knew you were going to ask that, and it's funny. I mentioned to somebody last night, one of my buddies is like, "Is Jim okay?" And I told him I have never seen him more clear-eyed and clear-headed in my 20-something years that I've been in Indianapolis than he is now. I think he's in a really good place.
But you said he was incoherent at the press conference.
But Jim, that's Jim on a good day, Dan. Jim, even when he's feeling well and he's thinking clearly and he's sober-minded, he's just a rambling guy, rambling man. So that's just kind of the way he operates. But he is, to my knowledge, in a good place where that goes. As an owner, though, I think he's jumped the shark.
Do you think Peyton Manning had a say in this?
Well, they call Peyton about everything. Um, I don't know because I think Peyton. I have not reached out to Peyton. I reached out, but I haven't gotten a response yet. But um, I don't think Peyton was on board with the Matt Ryan move. You know, no, I don't think. I think this is all Jim. I'm sure. I'm sure Jeff Saturday being the guy. I'm sure that Peyton was. They checked in with Peyton to see what he thought of that. But all the other stuff, getting rid of Reich. I don't know. I'm kind of guessing here.
And he also said it's a great thing that he has no prior coaching experience, and also because he doesn't have any fear. I don't know if anybody said to Jim Irsay, what was Frank Reich in fear of? Was he fearful of something? If you're saying, hey, Saturday makes sense, he's not going to be fearful. Was Frank Reich fearful?
Well, the last couple of weeks, he was properly fearful. He was afraid of going for it on 4th and short because his offensive line stinks. Jonathan Taylor is hurt. So he was not nearly as aggressive as he's been in the past. And I can't say that I blame him. I'll tell you what, though, he talked about fear and analytics like, we're not in the 21st century here. If I'm the two analytics guys, I'm putting my resume out today. I'm like, well, apparently they don't need us.
It all goes back to Andrew Luck, Bob.
Man, it does. And he took a bullet, he took a bullet last night. Irsay says, well, I've never had a generational quarterback quit on me before. But look, the expiration date on that has passed. Okay. You look at other teams, you look at what the New England has done since they lost Brady. You look at what the Philadelphia Eagles have done moving on to Jalen Hurts and a new coaching staff. The expiration date has passed. That is no longer a valid excuse. They need to go out in the draft, get themselves somebody, get a new coach in here, and move forward.
Great to talk to you, Bob.
Great to talk to you, Dan. Take care.
Give me your odds that this works out. Is Jeff Saturday the head coach starting next year?
No. I would not say he's in the upper quartile of the top quartile of guys with a chance to make it. No, he's going to go 1-7, maybe 0-8, 2-6. It's not going to be pretty. I mean, the history of interim coaches is pretty miserable, and a bad team is a bad team is a bad team, and I hope Jeff has some success, but it's a long shot for a guy who, while Jim loves his lack of experience, was 20-16 in 3 years in high school.
Good to check in with you as always, Bob.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Bob Kravitz, senior staff writer for The Athletic, covering the Colts.